Hey, how's it going? And welcome to my channel, Jason's General. If you're familiar with my channel at all, you know I normally do content on Magic the Gathering, Arena, our MTGO, and I wanted to open the channel up to more broad conversations on the Magic community and the gaming community as a whole. It's something that I've thought about doing for my channel for a while, just creating conversations, opening dialogues up about things that interest me in the gaming community. And recently, Wizards has faced a lot of backlash for using AI art in their in a marketing campaign on X. And this is something that I had a pretty large emotional response to myself as an artist and a creator. I thought it was a topic worth covering. Anyway, let's look at this. So, like I said, recently Magic the Gathering used this image in a marketing campaign, and a lot of people started to notice a lot of inconsistencies in the art and called them out for using AI. Initially on X, they responded to what everybody was saying once they posted the campaign and said, no, this is not artificial intelligence that made this art. It was an artist. And here you can see it. It features their Ravnica remastered Shocklands, the old border style. And it's in this steampunk room with on this table with this machinery. And it's very peculiar looking and almost too obvious that it's AI art, but it's hyper realistic, so I think it could pass over a lot of people's heads. And like I said, they denied the allegations at first in a tweet, and then people did not like that response. They called them out for it, and they started to point out a lot of the inconsistencies in the art, like I said. So bunch of websites are talking about this. If you Google Magic the Gathering AI art, there's a plethora of articles. We don't need to go over them. This one does a pretty good job of showing the work. And here we have the demonstration. We have Twitter user Taylor Green here, just pointing out all the inconsistencies. And a lot of people did this. Like, there's just a bunch of people that responded and pointed things out. Like, so if you look at this, check out the temperature gauge. It's missing the numbers on the side here. They just fizzle out. And you have this strange warping here and some digital artifacts that also just look unhuman. Like, let's go to the next image. Here's another one. The perspective is really off-putting of this cylinder. And I guess, like, what I would say is that, like, if an artist were to make this scene, it's very unlikely that they would include these details, and that's what made it so obvious to people. But upon first glance, it could go over your head. Like, it wasn't like a huge campaign. It was just like a little marketing campaign on Twitter. I keep calling it Twitter, but X, to show the cards. And unless you took the time to really look at it, you probably wouldn't know that it wasn't like digitally made by an artist. But yeah, some of these inconsistencies in the work really stand out. Like here, for example. First of all, I mean, we need to question, what is this machine on the table? What exactly is its purpose? And when you see something like this, you have these two cables splitting out from what looks like just like not even a human like made object. Like, if this were a real life object, I don't think metalwork is supposed to work this way. Like, this would be just improper. It'd probably be a defect. And yeah, it's just like coming out of this space, which is all blobbed and combobulated, and then like just kind of leads to this. I guess it leads to the lights, but it just doesn't sit right. It doesn't look right. It's not something that a real artist would have done. Because if they were to base this image off of something in real life, they would have just made the tool or the machine look like it's supposed to in real life, and this doesn't look real. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah, here's another example of that. It's like you have these wires coming out of this like gauge, this sort of segment on the object, this clamp to hold the wires in, with a leather strap coming out of the back, and I just couldn't see an object looking like this. Like I'm not really sure what's going on here in the left. Doesn't seem like it really looks like if you went into an AI. I don't know if any of you have experimented with AI art platforms, but if you just type in like steampunk machine, it just takes a bunch of images of examples of steampunk machines and then just kind of like mashes them together, and you get these types of outcomes where this part of the machine wouldn't exist in real life, but the AI is trying to replicate it based on images it's seen. So you just have these strange components that don't exist in real objects. It does look very like sci-fi, high tech, and it's maybe passable, but again, I just want to reiterate, I don't think a real artist would have done this. And even just this box, like the texture is very odd. The reflections of light are coming from seemingly nowhere. There is a window in the back, but let's look at the original image. It doesn't seem natural. The reflections would probably be coming this direction. I mean, I guess it kind of works, but again, it's just a really odd object that doesn't look like it should exist in the natural world. It's just a little too abstract. So you have people really outraged. This artist, Dave Raposa, he's a pretty significant artist in the gaming community. Makes work for Wizards of the Coast, or has made work for Wizards of the Coast. Looks like he may have deleted the post since then. But he says here in response to them that just like that, poof, I'm done working for Wizards of the Coast. You can't say you stand against this, then blatantly use AI to promote your product's emails sent. Goodbye, or sorry, emails sent. Goodbye, you all. And then he says that he adds in here that he doesn't want people to be hard on other artists who stay with Wizards, because he understands that people have lives to pay for and jobs and families to pay for. So I think that's sort of a nice response, but this really reinforces how enraged people are. All right, moving on. Eventually, Wizards of the Coast admits to using AI art after banning AI art. They have publicly decreed that they're not going to, or they're going to try to avoid using AI art. And yeah, they since admitted it. Once people decided that there's too many inadequacies and it isn't AI art. Yeah, here's an example of what they said. We understand the confusion by fans given the style being different from the art card, but we stand by our previous statement, the publisher replied. In another since deleted post, this art was created by humans and not AI. So that's the initial statement that they made, and then eventually they came clean. I guess they did some investigating, and they said here in a tweet, well, we made a mistake earlier when we said that a marketing image we posted was not using AI. As our diligent community pointed out, it looks like some AI components that are now popping up in the industry, standard tools like Photoshop, crept into our marketing creative, even if a human did the work to create the overall image. While the art came from the vendor, it's on us to make sure that we are living to our promise to support the amazing ingenuity that makes magic great. We already made clear that we require artists, writers, and creatives contributing to the Magic TCG to refrain from using AI regenerative tools to create final magic products. Now we're evaluating how we work with vendors on creative beyond our products, like these marketing images, to make sure that we were living up to those values. And so I do respect the response to all the backlash. I'm glad that they did some investigating and eventually figured out that and admitted to the fact that it is AI. But yeah, I do think this is something that they should avoid in the future. I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were just saying, like, it devalues the authenticity of the brand, the cards, and like, he posed a question to me. He said, would you read a book that was made by AI? And my immediate response was no. And so this made me think about that in the context of cards. And Magic the Gathering is, for the most part, obviously there's a digital platform, but like Arena, but for the most part, it's a physical game created by humans and human artists that give it intrinsic value. And so the question that we asked ourselves was, if Wizards of the Coast made a set that was like exclusively AI made, would we want to play the game, or does it lose that feeling of authenticity and collectability? And yeah, I think that's just an interesting question to think about. I think the human-made element is really what makes the game, the human art, the uniqueness that comes from individuals as creatives. You're going to lose that if you use AI, because AI pulls visual information from a bunch of different sources and kind of mashes it together to create what they think something should look like, where an artist is creating unique products based on their own stylistic choices. And I wanted to pull up this article here that I found, and we're in a sort of a unique time where we're going to be grappling these conversations and these debates a lot, I think, in the future, because we have AI influencing so many of the things that we do. And actually, I wanted to make a point about these tools. Like, Wizards said that it was tools that the artist used from Photoshop to put the elements together of the card or of the campaign. But it's like, at some point you have to draw a line in the sand about what is an acceptable amount of AI to use, if any, because that's a very it definitely takes away from the credibility of the art if you use tools to fill in the gaps. So I think it's a question that we need to ask ourselves as a community is, what is that acceptable amount of AI, if any, influence? I mean, in some sense, like Photoshop is artificial, so or Illustrator or other animating platforms, but the artist is still using the platform to create unique ideas. Whereas if you just have like an autofill feature on a program, then it's no longer that, it's something else. And I guess that's the question, is what is acceptable, if anything. And yeah, so lastly, I was digging around about AI and its influence on Magic the Gathering and the community as a whole, and I found this article, the gaming community as a whole, and I found this article on a lawsuit between some artists and this AI art making platform. Basically, this is what the lawsuit is about. Let me read it for you. AI art generator allegedly scraped Magic the Gathering cards for material. AI generated art is just pulling from existing work people have created and throwing elements together to create what the algorithm thinks you want. But it is not often you hear specifics of what an AI program is scraping from. Well, the CEO behind AI art generating program Midjourney allegedly has been training the algorithm on work by Magic the Gathering artists the entire time. And so you have this band of artists, I won't point out anyone in specific, that are going against this company Midjourney, because apparently a collection of 4,700 artists' work have been scraped to help the platform make art. And yeah, this is where things get dicey. And I think it's a deeper issue than just this one case of this campaign, this marketing campaign. I think it was a lack of oversight that allowed for this to pass through. Like, I don't personally think Wizards of the Coast is going out of their way to make AI art for their campaigns or their artwork in general. I think that they hire someone or an agency to make something for them, and then that person uses like this filter, and it just gets through the doors like and approved for the campaign. But ultimately, I'm of the belief that it was just a lack of oversight, and it's very possible that it was unintentional. Because if you just pulled this image up on quick glance and had to approve it, you might not look at all the details. You're just like, okay, this is good. It looks very realistic. It's a steampunk style setting, matches the artwork. Like Ravnica's a sort of steampunk setting already, and you just go, okay, great, done. Let's send it out. But I think, yeah, like I said, this definitely opens up the doors of conversations, of accountability, and we need to ask ourselves where we draw that line in the future moving forward. So yeah, that's it. I just wanted to have this conversation. It's my insight on what happened, and just wanted to fill in the community on what's going on. If you liked the video, let me know. Thanks a lot. Cheers.